Kalie breathed in the scent of fresh-cut wood as she sat at her desk, flipping through a stack of invoices. The rhythmic harmony of machinery outside was a familiar comfort, a constant to her life in the office of her father's logging company. She had worked here for over a decade, handling paperwork, scheduling deliveries, and keeping the business running smoothly. It was a life she enjoyed, one built around routine and stability. But there was always an underlying tension, a quiet weight she carried. The men on site, rough and good-natured, often asked her out, their advances harmless but relentless. She always found a polite way to decline, but the effort of dodging their interest, of keeping a part of herself hidden, wore her down. Her father knew the truth. He had known since she was 16. He never made a big deal out of it, never pried, but he also never pressured her to tell anyone else. Still, keeping that part of her private meant enduring the well-meaning but misguided attention of her co-workers. It was easier that way, or so she kept trying to believe. The ringing of the office phone snapped her back to the present. She answered it briskly, jotting down notes about a delayed shipment before hanging up. A quick glance at the clock told her it was nearly noon. She had one more task before lunch, the interview for the open lorry driver position. She shuffled through the applications, sighing at the underwhelming candidates. Most were men who had driven lorries before but lacked the necessary experience with heavy timber transport. Her father had made it clear he wanted someone qualified, not just someone who could handle a steering wheel. She had her doubts that today's interviewee would be any different. Then Amber walked in, and Kalie's world shifted. Tall, confident, and undeniably striking, Amber moved with an ease that turned heads. Her long brown-red hair was pulled back into a loose ponytail, and her green eyes held a quiet intensity. Dressed in practical workwear, she radiated strength. Kalie found herself staring. She forced herself to snap out of it, schooling her expression into something professional. Her voice was smooth, self-assured, with a hint of amusement, as if she had caught Kalie's momentary lapse and found it amusing rather than awkward. Kalie sat back down, determined to keep her composure. The interview should have been like any other, but from the moment Amber spoke, Kalie knew she was different. Unlike the other candidates, Amber had extensive experience transporting heavy loads, including timber. She spoke about her past jobs with confidence, detailing the logistics of moving massive trunks with an ease that impressed Kalie. But it wasn't just Amber's qualifications that unsettled her. It was the way Amber looked at her, the subtle but unmistakable flicker of interest in her gaze. The way she leaned forward slightly when Kalie spoke, as if listening to more than just her words. It made Kalie's pulse jump in a way she hadn't felt in a long time. She tried to ignore it, keeping the interview strictly professional, but by the time it ended, she knew two things for certain. Amber was the best person for the job, and she was trouble. When Kalie informed her father of her decision, he simply nodded. She sounds like the right choice. She is. Her father studied her for a moment, then gave a small, knowing smile. Good. I trust your judgment. She wasn't sure if he was talking about the hire or something else entirely. Either way, she wasn't ready to think about it. Amber was part of her world now, and Kalie had no idea what to do about it. This is the first part of a multi-part story. Subscribe to Stories for the Soul for the next installment coming soon.